Welcome students to the last unit of BGP 001 course. This is unit 16, that is the last unit of block 4, and this deals with individual initiatives taken by Vinoba Bhave, Jai Prakash Narayan and Martin Luther King for resolving the conflicts. How? By using the techniques of non-violent resistance. So the core thought process is how techniques of non-violent resistance was used as a conflict resolution process by these individuals. Who are these individuals? Vinoba Bhave, Jai Prakash Narayan and Martin Luther King. So let us start with individual initiative of Vinoba Bhave. Vinoba Bhave, who was Vinoba Bhave? Vinoba Bhave was born on 11 September 1895 in a village that is popularly known as Kajoge, which is presently located in Maharashtra state and in the Raigad district. The most significant movement came in 1940 when Vinoba Bhave was chosen as first individual satyagrahi by Mahatma Gandhi for protesting against the British policy during the World War II. In fact, Vinoba Bhave is also considered as moral and spiritual higher of Mahatma Gandhi. Why? Because he was also a follower of non-violent resistance. In 1948, Vinoba Bhave took initiative and founded Sarvodaya Samaj. What was Sarvodaya Samaj? Sarvodaya Samaj was a loosely structured organization of whom? Of Lok Sevak during a conference which was held in a village at Seva Gram. So this is the brief understanding about the initial actions and involvement of Vinoba Bhave. So what is the another significant contribution of Vinoba Bhave is he is considered as person who did significant work towards improvement of Gandhian philosophy. What was that? The first was that he put forward a concept of Samayog. What is Samayog? Samayog is basically the main teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Gandhiji had used the concept of Antyodaya in his thinking, where Vinoba Bhave developed it further by elucidating the concept of Sarvodaya, means welfare of all. Antyodaya was addressing the grievance and addressing the concern of the last person in the queue, whereas Sarvodaya is welfare of all. He also made several innovations in the concept of trusteeship of Gandhiji by putting the concept of Bhudan, means donation of land. Bhudan, donation of land. He also developed some ideas of Gandhiji's concept of Hind Swaraj in his book, that is Swaraj Shastra. According to Vinoba Bhave, a government-free society, establishment of a government-free society was the ultimate goal of Swaraj Shastra. So the Swaraj Shastra concept was basically based conceptualization of a government-free society as the ultimate objective. So let us understand about Bhudan and Gram Dan movement. Bhudan is donation of land. So Vinoba Bhave was of the view that land problem in India can only be solved by a compassionate approach, means Karuna, compassionate approach to the problem, that is known as Bhudan Janya. What is this? For him, this was undertaken as a satyagraha. So Bhudan movement was the application of principles of love, truth and non-violence to solve the problem. Means the problem of land related problem was solved. It was his belief that it was to be solved with the application of principles of love, truth and non-violence. To solve the problem of rural inequality and the problems of landless millions, means the problems of land related which led to rural inequality and problem related with the landlessness, it was to be solved with the application of principles of love, truth and non-violence, which was the main objective of Bhudan movement. So Bhudan movement was also an effort to reverse the glaring hierarchy in the economic structure of Indian society. How? Because when the gap between landholders and landlessness will minimize, then you will try to reverse the hierarchy of economic structure in the society, especially the Indian society. So the idea that came in for the starting of Bhudan movement, it was when he, as Vinoba Bhave, he interacted with some landless laborers in Pochampally village in Telangana region way back in 18th April 1951. Pochampally village in Telangana region during 18th April 1951. So he, in that interaction and as a follow-up of that, he adopted the method of Padyatra, a kind of pilgrimage on foot, marching from village to village to let the people understand the concept and the underlying principles of Bhudan. So he used the Padyatra, a kind of pilgrimage on the foot, for spreading the message and the benefits of Bhudan. During this campaign, to collect Bhudan, the people of Mangrowth in Uttar Pradesh offered the entire land of their village. It happened during his campaign of Bhudan that in one of the village of Uttar Pradesh, the people of the entire village gave their land to this movement. And from this, he came to the idea of Gram Dan, because the people of entire village gave his land. So concept of Bhudan exemplified or rather extended to the level of Gram Dan, means the donation of entire village. So it is a movement of shift from Bhudan, means donation of land, to Gram Dan, means donation of the entire village for the cause of the landless villagers. So what is Gram Dan? The next step of Bhudan. In 1963, he underlined the principle of Gram Dan. Which is that Gram Dan? Gram Dan is a program of village self-rule. So what Gram Dan? It has certain following features. What was that? Land was not owned by an individual. It was owned by village community as a whole. Landholders was to donate 1/20th of their land holding to the landless villagers, and everyone in the village would give 1/40th part of what he has earned in his land to the village community each year. Everyone would give 1/40th part of what he has earned, means whatever you have earning on the land holding on your part, 1/40th of that you will give to the village community. Those who do not cultivate land would give 1 day's earning every month to the village community. Means if you are not in the cultivation but doing some labor work or other work in the village, so you will give earning of your single days to the village community, and laborers will donate 1 day labor of every month to the village community. So it is a kind of village self-rule under Gram Dan, in which the land was to be held by the village community, not by the individual. Landholders were required to donate 1/20th of their land holding to the landless, and every person would give 1/40th part of their earning which they had in the entire month to the village community. And those who are not involved in cultivation process, they will give earning of 1 day's earning of their respective month to the village community for every month, and then laborers will donate 1 day of labor to every month for this Gram Dan process. The idea of Gram Dan, it started with Bhudan movement and came to Vinoba Bhave when he interacted with some laborers of Pochampally village, that was of about Bhudan. So Gram Dan, the process, this is basically a 3-stage development process. Gram Dan, which is this process that we are at present discussing, is basically a 3-stage development process. What are those 3 stages? The first stage is Prapti, receive. Pushti, second stage, and the third is Nirman. So what happens in the first stage? The Prapti, during which people made decision to accept Gramdan and transfer their ownership to the village council. Prapti means you are accepting the concept of Gramdan and handing over the ownership to the village council. The second stage is Pushti, confirmation. The people implemented the features of Gramdan, that is redistribution of 1/20th of the landholding. We have just discussed one of the salient feature of Gramdan is that every landholders will give 1/20th of the landholding to the village council. So this process of redistribution of the 1/20th landholding to the village community is known as the second stage of Gramdan movement, that is known as Pushti. And the third stage is Nirman. What happens is that during which village council will mobilize all those available resources for the village reconstruction program. So it starts with accepting the Gramdan movement, accepting, you give your cognizance, your acceptance, the decision to accept the Gramdan and transfer your ownership of the land to the village council. And second is Pushti, that you implement 1/20th redistribution of your land holding to the village council. And Nirman is starting of village reconstruction program. So Gramdan movement aimed at replacing the centralized state with decentralized village republics. So Gramdan is what? It is basically a movement which is from replacing the centralized state to decentralized village republics. After Gramdan, he also led to the formation of a new concept that is known as Shanti Sena. What is Shanti Sena? Shanti Sena is known as Peace Army. It was based on the idea of Mahatma Gandhi, who had initially conceptualized Shanti Sena as an army of volunteers who are non-violent, and they are dedicated their services, their works, their initiatives towards minimizing the communal violence. So the idea and the conceptualization of Shanti Sena came from Mahatma Gandhi, who conceptualized the Shanti Sena as an army of non-violent volunteers who are desired or dedicated for minimizing for communal violence. The Shanti Sena, the objective of Shanti Sena was to protect. How this Shanti Sena concept came for the Gramdan? The Shanti Sena was to protect Gramdan and Gram Rajya, and Shanti Sainik was to protect the people as a mother protects of her child. So the objective of Shanti Sena was protection of Gramdan movement, the Gramdan process. Vinoba Bhave also visualized Shanti Sena as Seva Sena, means service army, and Shanti Sainik as Seva Sainik. So Vinoba Bhave retransformed the concept of Shanti Sena to Seva Sena, that is known as service army, and Shanti Sainik as Seva Sainik, means service personnel involved in service. Shanti Sena could also be considered as offshoot of Gramdan movement. So Shanti Sainik was expected to follow the principle of Nishpaksh, non-partisanship, Nirvair, non-enmity, and Nirbhay, fearless. 3N. So what was the principles of Shanti Sainiks that they had to follow? Nishpaksh, non-partisanship, Nirvair, no enmity, and Nirbhay, fearlessness. So service without discrimination was the chief principle of the Shanti Sainik, and they had to follow these three Nishpaksh, Nirvair, and Nirbhay concept for the Shanti Sainik: non-partisanship, non-enmity, and fearlessness. And the main characteristic was service without discrimination, means your service should be accessible to everyone without any discrimination or and with non-partisanship. So with Shanti Sena, the next concept that came is Shanti Sena was concerned primarily with the task of building non-violent strength of the society, means it was dedicated towards developing a non-violent strength in the society. How? By creating social awareness, by promoting the value, features, benefits of non-violence among the people, and giving the people training in techniques of non-violence. So Shanti Sena was concerned primarily for building non-violent strength component of the society by three measures. The first is creating the social awareness about non-violence, then promoting the value benefits of non-violence among the people, and finally giving the people training in technique assimilation of the techniques of non-violence. So these were the all those recommendations, benefits of Shanti Sena, and then we have understood about the characteristics of Shanti Sena, then Seva Sena. So Bhudan movement, Gramdan movement, all these things are associated with personality of Vinoba Bhave. With this, we now move to another individual effort, very significant individual effort taken by another personality in independent India, Shri Jayaprakash Narayan. Again, through non-violence, solving the problem of conflict, means non-violence being used as a conflict resolution process. The second personality that we are going to discuss under this initiative, individual initiative, is Jayaprakash Narayan. Jayaprakash Narayan was famously known as JP, or more popularly known as Lok Nayak, that is people's hero. Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan. That is why Jayaprakash Narayan is popularly known as Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan. Jayaprakash Narayan was deeply influenced with Vinoba Bhave's philosophy and program of social reconstruction. Means he was quite influenced with Bhudan movement, Gramdan movement, and Shanti Sena and Seva Sena. So he was influenced with the philosophy, principles, actions and services of Acharya Vinoba Bhave. In 1951, JP, the popularly known as Jayaprakash Narayan, wrote an article in which was titled as Socialism and Sarvodaya, in which he appealed to all the socialists to study Sarvodaya plan, which he described as concrete program of social revolution. So what was Sarvodaya plan? Sarvodaya plan was concrete program of social revolution. How? In his thought of and philosophy, JP gave highest importance to Lok Niti. What is Lok Niti? Means polity, people's polity. So he was very impressed with Kanchan Mukti Prayog. What is Kanchan Mukti Prayog? Kanchan Mukti Prayog was of Vinoba Bhave, which was aimed at achieving complete self-dependence in the village by manufacturing that is needed in the village. Means all those needs, all those objects, all those things which required for surviving in the village is to be manufactured by the village itself. So making the village as a self-reliance and self-dependence. So this was the concept of Mukti Prayog. JP's view was that Lok Shakti, that is people's power, needed to be strengthened to achieve the welfare of the society. How society can be given to the welfare norms? So it can be done with the power of the people, people's power, that is Lok Shakti. So from Lok Shakti to the village development, village transformation, village reconstruction, all those things linked with the people's power. So he of this considered view that through people's power, that is the Lok Shakti, it needs to be strengthened. How? To achieve the real welfare of the society. So society can be developed, reconstructed, social development through involvement of the people by let them understand the power of their unity. The another meaning of Lok Shakti was to stimulate, to encourage people's power and give them strength of forces working towards social justice. Means you educate them, you train them, you give them the benefits that they together as a people's power like Lok Shakti, they understand the power of unity and then give them strength and forces working towards the social justice. Another important dimension of Lok Shakti that JP gave was giving movements for social transformation. Means Lok Shakti movement for village reconstruction to social transformation, because the village is the smallest unit of a society. So if the village is developed, if the village is reconstructed, if the village is transformed, so it will lead to social transformation. So social transformation will start from the village independence, village development, village reconstruction. After this, let us now understand what is the contribution to Bhudan and Gramdan movement towards the JP's philosophy, Jayaprakash Narayan philosophy. So Jayaprakash Narayan was awarded the famous Magsaysay Award for his work during the famine. In 1954, JP founded Shakodra Ashram in Kovakol village of Bihar, in which he conceptualized and realized the idea and belief regarding village reconstruction in practice. Means his idea of village reconstruction through Lok Shakti, Lok Niti, this was actually realized, it was actually put in practice in Shakodevra Ashram in Kovakol village in the state of Bihar in 1954. Why he chose this village, special village? He could have chosen the other village also. So he chose this village because it was one of the least developed village in Bihar. See how much challenge he has taken for this village reconstruction, because he had chosen the least developed village for actually making a practice concept, making it a practice about village reconstruction through his concept of Lok Niti and Lok Shakti. So this was his basically idea, that he took it as a challenge by accepting a village which is the least developed village for giving a practice to his ideas and philosophy. So this ashram was established, the famous ashram that is known as Shakodevra Ashram. This was established with two objectives. The first objective is to create a peace-loving society, based on harmony, and it was foundation of truth and non-violence, which is free from exploitation and governance, and which values this village or society values a happily, healthy, cultured, independent, self-ruled and self-dependent rural life. The first objective of this ashram was to create a peace-loving society. This peace-loving society should be based on certain principles of foundation. So this society was based on the foundation of truth and non-violence. This society has to be free from exploitation and governance, and the society should value a happy, healthy, cultured, independent, self-ruled and self-dependent rural life. The second objective was to bring a change in value system of the people. How? So that they can understand the personal interest, that personal interest is guided by the public interest. Means your personal interest is linked with the public interest, and you should understand the mundane ambition by spiritual inspiration. So in this experiment of village reconstruction, JP laid the emphasis of collective farming, that is known as Grameenikaran, that is villagization. So villagization of a society, village reconstruction. So he gave the new concept of village reconstruction as villagization, that is Grameenikaran, through collective farming. He also used the term of Grameenikaran, that is villagization, to mean that donated land belong to the whole village, not to any individual, as we have seen in Bhudan movement. In Bhudan movement was that every landholders will give certain part of their land to the village community. The same thing through a different concept note, the JP used the term Grameenikaran, that is villagization, in which donated land will not belong to an individual, it will belong to the whole village, like we had seen in Bhudan and Gramdan, to the village council. So the donated land will be belonging to the whole village, not the individual who has donated the land. So these were the significant contribution of Jayaprakash Narayan towards village transformation, a village self-rule, villagization, all these concepts towards solving the problem of conflict, a kind of peace resolution. So developing a village reconstruction plan, village self-rule, through these initiatives he thought of solving the problem of conflict, and the conflict was because of landlessness and one set of the people having lot of land and another set of the people who are completely landless. So this gap was filled by Acharya Vinoba Bhave through his Bhudan and Gramdan movement, and by this concept was put in practice through by J.P. Narayan, Jai Prakash Narayan, who developed an ashram, Shakho Deora ashram, which was based on two objectives. The first was, through this ashram, he intended to create a peace-loving society. Its foundation of the peace-loving society was based on the principle of truth and non-violence, and this society is to be free from exploitation and governance, and this society puts confidence and understands the values of happy, healthy, cultured, independent, self-ruled and self-dependent rural life. And the second objective of this ashram was that one has to change the value system of the people so that they should understand that personal interest is guided by public interest and mundane ambition by spiritual inspiration. So through these two principles, he experimented the concept of village reconstruction, which he famously gave a term as collective farming and Grameenikaran, that is villagization. And JP was of the firm belief that through Grameenikaran, that is villagization, the donated land of a villager will not belong to the individual villager, rather it will belong to the whole village, or we can say in a simple concept as village council. So these were the significant contribution of Jai Prakash Narayan for village reconstruction, village development, a kind of peace-loving society through his concept of Lok Niti and through people's power, Lok Shakti. So if someone asks about you to how you distinguish the efforts of Jai Prakash Narayan and Acharya Vinoba Bhave, so there is nothing like distinction. Basically, the philosophy of Acharya Vinoba Bhave and Jai Prakash Narayan is basically converging to a single point, that is understanding the power of the individual, people's power or villagers' powers towards resolution of the conflict, that is the resolution of the conflict of not having landlessness. So the concept of Bhudan and Gramdan movement of Acharya Vinoba Bhave and Lok Shakti, Lok Niti and a village peace-loving society, development of peace-loving society as founded or mandated by principles of Jai Prakash Narayan was basically in these direction. Village development. Why they concentrated on village? Because village is the smallest unit of a social framework. So if the village is developed, it will automatically lead towards social development and social transformation. The third individual initiative and effort that we are going to discuss in this unit is about Martin Luther King Jr. So Martin Luther King Jr. was a prominent leader of civil rights movement in America. He was also known as Junior Gandhi. He used the technique of non-violent resistance for advancement of civil rights of American black people. Martin Luther King was inspired by teaching of Mahatma Gandhi. For his work, he was awarded Nobel Peace Prize in 1964 for his outstanding significant work against racial segregation and racial discrimination by using non-violent means. So he practiced non-violent means and he was inspired by teaching of Mahatma Gandhi. In his book Stride Towards Freedom, Dr. King had described how the reading of Mahatma Gandhi has affected his thought process. In one of his radio address, he told, "Since being in India, I am more convinced than ever before that the method of non-violent resistance is the most potent weapon available to the oppressed people in their struggle for justice and human dignity." So these sentences itself say that how much he was influenced with the teaching of non-violence as practiced by Mahatma Gandhi, and this is very evident in his radio address, in which he is saying, he was famously said that since being in India, I am more convinced than ever before that the method of non-violent resistance is the most potent weapon available to the oppressed people in their struggle for the justice and human dignity. The next thing that we are going to discuss about Martin Luther King is that he had described 5 notions that show his commitment to the non-violence as a method of resistance. Means resistance against oppression through commitment of non-violence. So this was based on the 5 notions, or we can say the 5 principles of Dr. Martin Luther King. The first was non-violence is not to be practiced by cowards because it takes great courage to stand defenseless in front of an adversary with the weapons who is prepared to use them. So you need courageous people, not cowards, for practicing the non-violence. This is the first notion. And the second notion is that the goal of non-violence resistance is with respect and understanding of the adversary, not to harm, defeat or humiliate them. So the second goal is that you have to respect and understand of the adversary, not to harm, defeat and humiliate him. The third is non-violent resistance is against the evil deeds, not against the evil doer. Means against the evil practices, not against the person who is performing those practices. So non-violent resistance is against the evil deeds, not against the evil doer. The fourth is through the non-violent resistance is physically non-aggressive. It is basically spiritually aggressive and has the power to influence the soul of the adversary. And the fifth is non-violent resistance is based on self-suffering. This is remarkable. If you look at the 5 notions of Dr. Martin Luther King, it's completely something very different. Like non-violence is not to be practiced by the cowards because you need courageous people who are standing defenseless in the front of an adversary who is with the weapon and who is prepared to use them and ready to harm you. But you are courageous, so you are standing defenseless in the front of an adversary. So non-violence is to be the practice by courageous people, not by the cowards. This is the first notion. And the second is that this non-violence resistance is with the respect and understanding of the adversary, that you are not supposed to harm, defeat or humiliate them. And the third is your resistance is against the deed, not the doer. So non-violent resistance is against the evil deeds, not against the evil doer. And the fourth notion is that physically non-aggressive means it is spiritually aggressive and you have the power to influence the soul of the adversary. Means physically you are not harming, you are basically influencing the soul of the adversary, the thought process of the adversary. And the final is non-violent resistance is based on self-suffering, not the suffering of your adversary, it is self-suffering. Completely remarkable notion given by Dr. King about the commitment to non-violence. So what was the conflict resolution strategies adopted by Dr. King? First, he gave those 5 notions for the non-violent resistance. Then he utilized 4 strategies to unite the Black Americans in his non-violent fight against racism in the United States. The first strategy was to use the effective use of the Bible. Second, give moral authority to his speeches. Because why? Because if you use the religious text, then it gives you a moral authority to your speeches. The second strategy was to appeal to the value of Western civilization. He made a point to use the thoughts from the Western theological and philosophical traditions. The third strategy that he used was brilliant use of American constitutional and legal documents to give credence to his philosophy and movement against racism. So all those his philosophy and movement against racism got credence through the brilliant use of American constitutional and legal document. And the fourth strategy was that he consistently included both black and white people. He is fighting against racism. He is taking non-violent fight against racism about the racial color of the black. He is including both black and white people in the society which he aimed to achieve, which he called the beloved community. So these four strategies, I again repeat for your understanding, that it was based on the religious principle of the Bible because it gave moral authority to his speeches. So he effectively used Bible giving moral authority to his speeches. The second strategy was that appeal to the value of Western civilization, beauty, the benefits, the cornerstones, the best part of the Western civilization, to use the thoughts of Western theological and philosophical traditions of the Western civilization. The third strategy was brilliant use of American constitutional and legal documents to give credence to his philosophy and movement, a kind of non-violent movement against racism. And the fourth strategy that he adopted was consistently included both black and white people in the society, which he aimed to achieve, which he called as beloved community, which was having both black and white people in the community. So this beloved community had people from both black and white. With this, our coverage of the topic under unit 16 is over. So I am again just repeating what in brief that what we have understood in unit number 16. Unit number 16 was targeted towards basically understanding the individual initiative of three personalities, Vinoba Bhave, Jayaprakash Narayan and Martin Luther King, about their individual initiative, mostly non-violent resistance as a conflict resolution process for overcoming the conflict. The two conflicts that Vinoba Bhave and Jayaprakash Narayan dealt with was landlessness and the problem related with the land, and they conceptualized the concept of, especially Acharya Vinoba Bhave, for Gram Dan and Bhudan movement, and Shanti Sena and Service Sena, Seva Sena, through village reconstruction program, which ultimately transformed into the village development and finally social development. Similarly, Jayaprakash Narayan, Lok Shakti, Lok Niti, people's power, people's polity. And the third was Martin Luther King for his non-violent resistance against racism in the Western civilization, especially in the United States of America. So for Vinoba Bhave, he was known as first individual satyagrahi to be selected by Mahatma Gandhi. He founded Sarvodaya Samaj. He conceptualized the process of Samayog. He was the person who led the movement of Bhudan, donation of the land, and ultimately it transformed into Gram Dan, means village redevelopment, village reconstruction, a kind of program of village self-rule. So in the Gram Dan, there were the features of like land to be owned by village community, not by the individuals. Landholders were to donate 1/20th of their land to the landless. Every person would give 1/40th of their earning to the village community, and those who do not cultivate land, they will give the earning of their 1 day earning of every month to the village community, and finally the laborers will donate 1 day labor to the every month. So this was the way that village community prospered, and then they looked into the village reconstruction program. So his 3 stages development of the village was basically Prapti, Pushti and Nirman. Prapti means people made to decision to accept the concept of Gram Dan. In Pushti, it is redistribution of the 1/20th land holding to the village community, and the third is Nirman, it is known as village reconstruction program. So the objective of this Gram Dan was replacing the centralized state with decentralized village republics. He also conceptualized Shanti Sena, a peace army, and Shanti Sena was to protect Gram Dan and Gram Rajya protection, and Shanti Sainik, the Shanti Sainik was expected to follow the principle of 3N. 3N is what? Nispaksh means non-partisanship, Nirvair means no enmity, and Nirbhay means fearless. So a Shanti Sainik had 3 principles: Nispaksh, Nirvair and Nirbhay. And then Shanti Sena basically was given the primary task of building the non-violent strength of the society through 3 principles. First was creating social awareness, then promoting the value of non-violence, and finally training the techniques of the non-violence. The another individual who had given significant contribution through this non-resistance movement for the village development was Jayaprakash Narayan, who is known as Lok Nayak. Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Narayan. So his concept was basically highest importance for the Lok Niti, that is people's polity. He was very impressed by Kanchan Mukti program of Acharya Vinoba Bhave, which was aimed at achieving complete self-dependence in the village, manufacturing everything. So JP had also the viewpoint of Lok Shakti, that was people's power. Means you let them understand about the strength of a people's power towards welfare of the society. So contribution of Bhudan and Gramdan movement was into the JP's philosophy was that he chose a village, a least developed village in Bihar for experimenting his understanding about village reconstruction and village development. So in this least developed village, he established his ashram, which was known as Shakodera Ashram, and it was created with the two purposes. First, to create a peace-loving society which was based on the foundation of truth and non-violence, which was free from exploitation and governance, which values a happily, healthy, cultured, independent, self-ruled and self-dependent rural life. In his experiment of a village reconstruction, he emphasized upon collective farming and Grameenikaran, means villagization of a village. So he thought that by using the term Grameenikaran, that is villagization, it means donated land belong to the whole village, not the individual. The third individual initiative that we had discussed, deliberated in this unit was Martin Luther King, who was very much inspired by the teaching of Mahatma Gandhi, and who during his visit to India understood the importance of non-violent resistance as the most potent weapon available to oppressed people in their struggle for justice and human dignity. His commitment to the non-violence was basically based on the 5 notions. The first was that non-violence is to be practiced by courageous people, not by the cowards. And second is non-violent resistance with the respect and understanding of the adversary, not to harm, defeat or humiliate them. And the third is that non-violent resistance is against the deeds, not the doer. Means non-violent resistance is against the evil deeds, not the evil doer. And non-violent resistance is physically non-aggressive, rather it is spiritually aggressive. So non-violent resistance is spiritually aggressive because you have the power, you have attained the power to influence the soul of your adversary. Non-violent resistance, the final point of this 5 notion is that non-violent resistance is based on self-suffering, not on the adversary suffering. So this was the beauty of the notions that he gave for the commitment to the non-violent resistance. Then he developed the 4-pronged strategies to unite the black Americans for his non-violent fight against racism. With this, students, all the 16 units under BGP 001 course is over. I hope you had good understanding about the concept and the deliberations we had in all the 16 units. So we look forward to your good performance in the examination. All the best to your internal assessment and your forthcoming term end examination to be conducted by the university. Thank you for all your attention and concentration for the studies. Thank you. All the best.